Chelsea Football Club have had a lot of injuries, and apparently Mauricio Pochettino's training regimen is to blame. But is that the only reason? We're going to debunk that. Number two, this board evidently knows what they're doing. The harsh truth regarding Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, Mateo Kovacic and Lewis Hall has come out. And now Conor Gallagher has 18 months left on his deal, and they're potentially not even going to renegotiate a deal and sell him in January. And finally, internally at Chelsea Football Club, they believe they've got arguably one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Well, at least they believe Sanchez can develop into it. We're going to debunk it, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to see whether the right time for Petkovic to come into this team is now. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Kavkas View. It's your favorite Georgian over here, but you already know what it is. We're going to be talking about Chelsea and everything related. But before we get started, I need you lot to do me a massive favor. I need you lot to hit the like button. We need to get 1,000 likes on this video. Number two, subscribe if you're brand new, okay? If you made it this far, you're enjoying the content, you kind of like the Chelsea related news, subscribe. I'm going to keep you lot in the loop. And more importantly, if you want me talking about all sorts of things in football, hit me up on TikTok. That's where I started doing the wider content. So now let's get into it. So Chelsea Football Club have had an unprecedented amount of injuries, right? I think at one point we had 13 out of our 25 allocated squad members at one time. Like, do you know how mad that is when 13 out of your 25 are hurt? That's more than 50%. Like, that is beyond bonkers. Like, you're not meant to have that many injuries in a whole year, let alone in one time period. That's actually mind-boggling. And all these players aren't even out for like a week or two. A lot of them are out for a considerable period of time. So The Athletic have recently done an article, and majority of the news coming today is from The Athletic and Liam Toney. So if you guys want to go read that article, be my guest. I'm going to break down some of the key talking points from it. Number one, he believes that a lot of these injuries are down to two components. I'm going to say three because I'm going to add one of my own. The first component that he adds is that the intense training from Mauricio Pochettino. Pochettino's training is very intense, and in pre-season he hit these lot hard in the sense that he made sure that they were going through the fitness regime, that they were going to be fitter, stronger, ready for the season, because he believed it's a weak point in Chelsea's current squad, and the best way to get ready for a season is by prepping. I think this is correct. If you look at Chelsea this season, we're fit, we're strong, we're ready to compete. Yes, we've got a lot of injuries, but this squad is intensity in big games has been mad. You can need to just look at the first game against Liverpool. We came into that season ready to go. We absolutely destroyed them after an initial 25 minutes where Liverpool dominated. The fitness levels guide us through. So I believe that this could be a factor. I feel players' bodies would break down. Number two, Liam believes this is bad luck. And whilst I don't believe luck has a little bit to play with it in the sense that Carney Chukwuemeka had a contact injury, I think the biggest component that people are just ignoring is we sign injury-prone players. Like, I think that is the biggest factor that no one really wants to focus on. Christopher Nkunku is ridiculously injury-prone. Carney Chukwuemeka has had injury problems in his life. Reece James, injury problems. Noni Madueke, injury problems. We can literally keep going through. Ben Chilwell, injury problems. Badiashile, hamstring issues. Like, these are players that were injured prior to coming to Chelsea. So the fact that we think just because they're in a new league, and if anything a more intense league, that the muscle injuries are just going to stop, it's a little bit naive. So I think we need to be honest and open about what we are seeing and what we are witnessing. I think those three are the big metrics, and if anything, I think those two. Bad luck. Luck happens to everyone, right? The reality is that if you prepare, you don't get that many muscle injuries. But I think at the same time, Poch has to keep us fit and healthy. We can't go through what we were going through in the past, where players were just lackluster and we were losing out on intensity. One of the reasons I'm so valiantly behind Poch is because I'm starting to get to the point where I trust this board. I know this isn't a popular segment, and I know at this moment in time everyone wants to come down hard on the board. You know what? They don't like Bowley, they don't like Igbali, they don't like the way they're doing business. We went from the best owner in the world to arguably an unknown quantity, right? We don't know what these guys are trying to do. But one thing I will say that these guys are doing is they've got footballing people in charge. Whether these footballing people are going to implement the correct policies, we're going to find out with time. But what do we know so far? We know they got the wage bill ridiculously low. We don't care about that as fans, right? We really don't care. But what we know is they've got a few things really correct. And when I tell you correct, I mean look at the players that they've sold, the values that they sold them, and now you compare the players' seasons to the comparison to the players that are currently present in this team, all right? Now let's look at it from a very simple standpoint. Lewis Hall, a youngster that went, a lot of people made a big deal about it. How dare we sell him? £28 million, we're going to go to Newcastle and shine. Well, as of this moment, we're going to get £28 million for it, and he's hardly played for Newcastle. I think he's had minutes here and there, but other than that, he's been lackluster in terms of achieving a starting point. Number 2, the 3 experienced midfielders that we let go. Mateo Kovacic, Kai Havertz, and Mason Mount. None of them have hit the ground running. Kovacic has been lackluster, inconsistent. Mount has been dropped, a £60 million player dropped to the bench, and the same fate for Kai Havertz. I think between them, they've got one goal between the 3 of them, and they've been regular starters, and now all 3 of them have been relegated to the bench. I'm not saying they're bad players, but I'm saying maybe the board saw something when they allocated around about £150 million worth of recoverables by selling those 3 and investing that money into Ogochukwu, into Kendry Pies, into Moses Caicedo, a Romeo Lavia. Like, evidently we're doing something right, and they're earning my trust with actions, not just promises. They're investing money, they're selling players that are moving on and not being better. I know it's very... So this is why I'm warming people up, and I'm saying maybe them not renegotiating with Conor Gallagher at this moment in time isn't a big deal the way everyone is. I think Conor Gallagher's going to stay. I think he's going to sign on the dotted line, and the reason I think that is because I think Pochettino is going to get his way. Pochettino is going to be an individual that is going to say, I want to keep this player. He is one of my players. He is arguably my captain. When everyone's fit, he's third choice, but at the moment, he's my captain. And you know what? Gallagher's earned a contract. A lot of you say I'm very hard on Gallagher, but I'm going to say something. Gallagher is a Chelsea fan. Gallagher performs, and that's the most important one. He started forming in big games. And like I said, he has a role to play at Chelsea Football Club. I'm re-signing. I'm not saying start Gallagher every game. God forbid we start Gallagher every game. But there are places where Gallagher is very, very competent and useful to have for Chelsea Football Club. So I think they will re-sign him, and we will see in January. Because Liam Tuia, I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name, from the Athletic, he's saying that as of this moment, no contract negotiations have started. And he has got 18 months left on his deal, the way that Ian Matson has. So in January, there will be a lot of interest in this player. What we also got was, in my opinion, a briefing. And the briefing is very evident, right? There are rumors now coming out that Robert Sanchez is really well liked in the background staff, in the sense that the goalkeeping coach, the one that came from Brighton, was the one pushing for this move to happen. And I'm starting to see a trend. People that have worked with people, they want to work with them again. You saw that with Brentford, a goalkeeping coach went to Arsenal, and now Raya's there. You saw the Brighton coach came to Chelsea, and now Sanchez is there. And with Sanchez, I think this is very evident and very interesting what's happening, because Chelsea internally believe they can develop him to be one of the best goalkeepers in the world. I've got no problem with the mistake of him that cost us a goal, because sometimes I think that happens. What I have a problem with is this was coming and there was no need to do it. Like, we were giving the ball away religiously for periods of time, and it's Sanchez's same mistakes in the last 5 games. We have a sample size of him doing that. He needs to switch on a little bit. He's a bit too lackluster for my liking. And more importantly, I think there are certain elements of his game he can improve. But what's very interesting now is people are jumping on the bandwagon of play Petkovic. And Liam talks about this in his article. He said playing Petkovic is all well and good, but you're going to destroy the confidence of Sanchez. And it's a little bit of a radical move in the sense that, boom, you're out of the team. Now you have to drop Petkovic in there. They believe he's a good signing. They believe he's got all the analytics to back it and be a high net worth signing, in the sense that he could develop in his price tag so highly that they got him so at a very cheap price. Do you want to destroy Sanchez at the expense? I don't think that's what they want to do, and I don't think that's the right thing. I genuinely don't think Sanchez should be getting dropped. I do not stand on that rhetoric that enough is enough, he has to go, he has to go. Personally, I think you need to stick with him, and if this continues in the next few games, then so be it. then he gets dropped. But this is one mistake that we've been punished. He also had very good games that we need to take into account. But guys, all I'm going to say now is this was your Chelsea update. I hope you lot enjoyed the video. I hope you like the way I've presented. What I am going to say is, if you made it this far, make sure you hit that like button, all right? You don't understand how much it helps. 1,000 likes. Number 2, I need you to subscribe, because subscriptions are the best way for YouTube to understand that this channel is growing and going places. And finally, the biggest one of all, in the pinned comment is my TikTok. Go follow me there. I'm on the road to 10,000 followers, okay? We're only on 600, so we got a long way to go, so every one of you help. Peace out, I'm out. Have a lovely day, have a lovely evening whenever you watch this.